Yeah, welcome everyone to Light Channel Denmark. We are so blessed that we are going to have quite many biblical archaeology programs here. And tonight we are going to have a very good friend of mine who's going to share about Noah's Ark. And she knows very much about Noah's Ark. And I'm really looking forward. I heard it with some of it before, but it's getting more and more studies on it, which really makes those who maybe have a little difficulty to believe that the Bible is true. It's very good for them to hear this and really see that the Bible is true. So, but before we welcome Elin and Mikael, who is going to ask questions, let's pray to our dear Heavenly Father to bless the meeting. In heaven, we are just so thankful that you are such a good Father to us. Thank you that you know each one of us. Thankful that you worked on Ron Wyatt's heart to find Noah's Ark, and that you put Elin Berglund in contact with him so that she now share about Noah's Ark with us. Help us to understand what we are going to learn from the time when Noah was living, and please bless the time with Elin now. In Jesus' name, amen.
Yes, welcome everybody joining Light Channel tonight. Thank you, Eva, and thank you, Elin, for joining us tonight from, I guess, somewhere in Scandinavia. It is going to be a quite exciting evening, I believe. Also, I would like to apologize for the issue we had with the sound last Friday, as we did not realize what was going on. Anyway, we're going to record again our last presentation. That was an introduction to this 5-part series of programs about Ron Wyatt and his discoveries. So stay tuned. We will come back very soon with our first presentation. Allow me to give you a brief introduction of what we are going to talk about in this program. Now, in this presentation, we're going to deal with the first subject, which is Noah's Ark, facts or fiction. And let me remind you that, as we have mentioned in our first presentation, we're not going to use our guts, feelings, or any personal motivated reasoning. No. We have decided to use external sources to decide whether Ron Wyatt's discoveries about Noah's Ark are true or not. So we're going to take our Bible classes on tonight along with scientific proofs. Yes, you heard that right. And that is because we are Seventh-day Adventist Christians and because we accept the Bible as our infallible source of truth. And maybe if there are viewers out there that do not accept the Bible as a source of truth, please be patient and stay tuned. We're actually going to present some proofs, some scientific proofs, later on in our next programs. And just as a reminder for our viewers, in case you did not follow with our first presentation, I would like to remind you where we stand. I believe it is important from the beginning to make this clear. Well, where do we stand? We stand here in this position where we reject ideologies that follow here on this slide, but stand for absolute truth. So if you find yourself building your faith, your life on one of these other ideologies, then I believe that the rest of our discussion tonight is pointless for you. And I believe that goes for any other subject that you might listen to. If I don't believe that there is an absolute source of truth out there, outside of myself, in spite of my lack of knowledge, that has the power to define truth for me, then I would dare to say that any other discussion is meaningless. That goes for this subject about Noah's Ark as well. If my approach to this program is being kind of twisted through the prism of one of these ideology, then again, I apologize by saying that it will probably be a total waste of time. Anyway, these are the ideologies that, as we know, are out there. We have a lot of people today in the world which are building their life, their view on relativism. We have a lot of skeptics out there. We have a lot of people that are thinking as a postmodernist, in a postmodernist way. We have people that do believe in a pluralistic world. We also have a lot of agnostics out there, and also people that do find truth in majority voting. And there is also the last one, which is a so-called motivated reasoning, which is a tendency to cherry pick and twist the facts, as it is pointed out here on our slide here, to actually suit and to fit our existing belief in my own reasoning to define truth. Well, what we would like you to do tonight, if that's all right with you, we would like you to approach this study from this mental attitude, and I believe that's possible. We'd really like you to not be the skeptic, no matter what, and we would neither like you to be a naive believer, to accept everything we're going to say here as being true. We would like you to be this inquirer. We would like you to hold verdict until investigation is being done. And that goes for anything that we're going to say in this program and the next programs as well. So I hope that you can find your ideology, at least you can find common sense in this. Well, Elin, we have been writing back and forth about this and how we're going to approach this subject. And as you know, and we know, this is a much disputed subject, and some of our viewers might think, well, let's see if they have some kind of proof, let's see if we are going to have a good laugh, or maybe, just maybe, this might change my mind. All right. But before we go on, I would like to ask you, Elin, to present yourself.
Yes, that could be a very long story, but I'm a Christian, and I've been interested in this in archaeology, especially related to the Bible, since I was very, very young. Because I found that very interesting, to understand is the Bible facts or fiction, not only because of myself and my beliefs, but to reach other people with it. Because many has grown up as in an atheist world and skeptic world. So I like to see how much are there to prove the Bible. So, well, that's a little bit of my approach. But really, I'm a nurse, and I have to really go into this because I like to see if this is real. I don't like only to believe it's true, because I hope so. I like to be sure that this is the truth.
All right, so you don't see yourself...
I don't know how much you want to know about me, but...
Well, just a quick question. You don't see yourself as a naive believer, or...
No, I don't. I really want proof, really, as far as we can have it. And I think God likes us to have a little proof in all this mixture world that we are living in, with so much information, so much confusion. he likes to give us something, to believe in.
Yeah.
So it's faith, but it's faith that you can trust.
All right. Okay.
And I like to research, and that's what brought me into all this. I like to research.
All right. Okay. So just a quick note, if you could talk a little bit closer to your microphone, that will make it a little bit better.
Okay.
Okay, that's
I'll
better.
try.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Thank you for your short presentation. Now, we have already told our viewers how we're going to approach this subject. Again, if you're an atheist, you may not accept the Bible as a truth meter, a definer of truth. You will probably ask for scientific evidence based on scientific methods. And maybe, again, just maybe, some of you out there would wonder how we're going to match or merge scientific evidence and the scientific methods with the Bible. Well, just to clear this up, let us shortly define what is a scientific method. If let's for example, if we ask Google, we receive this answer from Google, and I'm going to put it up here. Google is telling us, and I'm sure this is a definition that you will find in many other books and websites, that the scientific method is a method of procedure that has the natural science behind since the 17th century, consisting in systematic observation, measurement, and experiment, and the formulation, testing, and modification of hypotheses. And it is also required to be critical, which is the backbone of the scientific method. So just to know where we are in terms of scientific method. On my next slide here, I would like to also point out what does it mean, scientific evidence, just in case somebody doesn't really know or doesn't know how to define it. So scientific evidence, Wikipedia is telling us, is the evidence which serves to either support or counter a scientific theory or hypothesis. Such evidence is expected to be empirical evidence and interpretation in accordance with scientific methods. So just a quick question for you, Eileen. What is empirical evidence? Just a short explanation from your side.
I didn't hear you quite, but can you repeat the question?
Yes, sure. Just if you could do a short explanation when we're talking about archaeology, and in this case about Noah's Ark, what would be this empirical evidence?
I think you have to do measurements, you have to dig to see what is there, and then when you find it, you have to analyze to see what it is, what it contains, and
Yes,
there's a lot of measurements.
All right, so that will be...
This is geology,
geology, that will be physical data, something that actually people can see, they can smell, they can feel. Is that correct assumption?
Yes.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Just maybe somebody doesn't understand the term. So, now, the situation is that even if you're going to build your presentation, and this presentation about Noah's Ark on the scientific method, and we're going to use scientific evidence as we just defined, what you're about to prove goes pretty much against what many people still believe today to be the mainstream scientific method of today. And that is the so-called evolution theory. So in a nutshell, even if you're a skeptic, even if the evidence will be accepted by the skeptic mindset as being scientific, it will go against the evolution theory, because in this theory, life on Earth must have been continuous from its inception to present time in order to allow for evolutionary change over time. Thus, there is no room for the evolution theory for the relatively recent destruction of terrestrial life. This is another side subject which we are not going to deal with tonight. My point in case is that I believe that if one believes in the evolution theory, or even if the so-called theistic evolution theory, which is an oxymoron by definition, this bias will never accept any kind of evidence in regards to Noah's Ark, as it will demand a paradigm shift a change of glasses, and most likely for an honest person, it will also require to accept that there might be a God out there after all. So my question to you, Ellen, is have you experienced this schism? And because of this bias in the world, people will not accept any kind of evidence, even if it's scientific evidence, in support of Noah's Ark.
Yeah. Yes, I have seen that, but I even seen skeptic people to creation and to there ever been a flood in the world. Still, they have been standing there and saying, "But this is a ship. What do we do with that?" Because they want to approach it with, to research and see what is it, and they can't deny it's a ship. So I've seen that too. But of course, evidence is not useful for people who want to say, no, I don't want it to be the Noah's Ark.
All right.
But of course, there's also...
Yeah.
But there is a lot of different people out there. They don't want this man particularly to find this because of this and that. And so there's so many motives to say, no, I don't want to see the evidence. I don't want to.
Okay. So maybe we should already tell our viewers the secret that actually this presentation is not really about Noah's Ark, which it is in a sense. It's actually about how biased are you to actually accept the evidence that we're going to come up with? Are you so biased?
Yeah, I think so.
Or are you just an inquirer? And my next question is again, and that's also for you, Ellen, isn't that important to take on these inquirer glasses in order to be able to take a final decision also in this matter about Noah's Ark? And why would that be important?
I think that's very, very important, and that's what I ask. I have been doing tour groups up there many times. I bring people up there 5, 6, 7 times, I don't remember, and I have to ask them, There has been atheists up there, there have been other religious people, different kind of religious people, and what I ask is to see and look and search and be interested in knowing what is this. Don't believe what I say, don't believe what any says, but see, you have to look to all the evidence, and be interested to do research yourself, because you can do that. It's lying there. You can not dig there, you have not permission to that, but you can do things, a lot of research yourself on Noah's Ark, and people have done that. They've gone up there to see for themselves, and doing measurements is so far that they are allowed to do. And that, I respect that attitude on people.
All right. So once again, this is more or less a total question about the attitude that anybody will have when we're going to approach any kind of evidence, and it's not just about Noah's Ark, but it's also any other subject, especially when it comes to life and God. All right. Well,
it is.
Now I'm going to make a sure stop here and point our viewers to something which I believe is essential. We have already pointed out our ideology and source of truth from the very beginning. However, there is a tremendous battle in the world today, not just for money or to gain attention, but for truth. Who is right or wrong in any given matter? Who and what is going to be your and my source of truth? Who is it going to decide for you and I, for me, what information is true and factual and what is misinformation that is a lie? Let's take, for example, this organization, which is called snoops.com. So I'm going to put up a slide here. I think it's somehow missing from my presentation. Anyway, I was going to take up this website, which is called snopes.com, and I'm going to shortly do some explanation about what they are doing. There is a link which will come up later. On this website, you will be able to find also that they are so-called debunking Noah's Ark and every piece of evidence which they believe it's out there as being fake, as being false. You will also find from the very beginning a picture about with Noah's Ark, and just below the picture there will be a claim there which is with a single word, which is false. And under this picture, there will be about 20 claims which they have taken, among other claims from Ron Wyatt, and they put up the claim, and beneath that they will put up reality. This is what they call reality. Now, the thing is that snoops.com, they have actually, and the reason I'm taking this up is that people behind snopes.com have taken upon themselves probably the most important task in human history, to bring you and I fact-based evidence so that you and I can decide what is true and what is a lie. So we have a choice here. We have a choice to take the Bible, some scientific or the scientific evidence from snopes.com, and what they claim is also scientific evidence. Now, I'm not trying to make it complicated or bring more confusion to this matter. I'm just trying to point our viewers to the agenda, because no matter what, there is always an agenda behind. The Bible has an agenda. Snopes.com has an agenda. We do have as well. And the battle is for your mind. So again, our scientific evidence is based on the Bible, supported by the agenda of the Bible, which is to bring you and I back to God in full communion with Him, which will offer us eternal life in exchange. It is up to you and I to decide what we are going to do with this information. Who is it going to decide for you and me what is true and what is not true? Because if you and I will accept that this indeed is Noah's Ark, we will also have to accept that there was a flood. That means no evolution or theistic evolution. That means that there is a God, that God did punish the antediluvian world with a flood because of their evil criminal behavior. So there was a judgment back then. Everything I've just said does not fit into the postmodern mindset or a pluralistic or a relativistic mindset. So in a sense, we could stop here, but we're not going to do that, not yet. So let's just roll back a little bit, because I want to be fair, and again, I want to present both sides of the matter. So you can find their page if you just Google their page on YouTube, and you can find this information which I've just mentioned there. Well, let's go back to our actually main discussion, because it's not our purpose here to take each and every single of one of these claims and what Snopes.com calls reality and try to debunk these points of view. We're going to present just a fraction of the evidence which is out there in regards to Noah's Ark. So I'm going to ask you, Eileen, our guest tonight here, to go through some of the physical evidence that we will be showing here on our next slide. And also to our viewers, again, please do remember to take your Inquirer glasses on, because this is not just about Noah's Ark. This is a teeny part of a much bigger picture in the battle between true and false evidence. And this is about God at the end of the line. His existence, God's reality, God's truth, God's purpose with you and me. Also, before we're going to go through some of this evidence, please ask yourself, if you're a Christian, and I'm going to ask Eileen the same question: can I believe in the God of the Bible, but I will not believe in Noah's Ark, that this ever happened?
I don't think so, actually. Some people say it's all well, that's the Old Testament, but Jesus, he mentioned Noah's Ark as a true fact, that was something that happened. So if you want to believe what Jesus said, you have to believe in Noah's Ark.
All right. Okay. Well, can I pick and choose what to believe from the Bible and still claim that I know God and I do trust in Him and His Word 100%?
I think the salvation is about God. It says so in John, I think it's the 17th chapter, verse 3, that eternal life is to know God and the one He sent out, Jesus Christ. So I think, you need to know God a little bit more than just be naive. You have to know Him and search for Him and read about what He wants to do, and read His letters, that is the Bible.
All right. Well, let's take up the first slide here. Can you? I'm just going to put it up for our viewers here, and could you do some explanation here on this?
Yes, because and what is the sources to this story? We have talked about the Bible now. It's both the Old and New Testament says something about Noah's Ark. The Old, of course, says a lot more. But also the Quran talks about it, and various cuneiform writings from Sumer and Akkadian, and that's the first, and Gilgamesh epoch has been found also. In addition to that, I haven't counted them, but lots of stories from our world. So it seems that this is something all
Yeah.
this big about Noah. He has different names. He's called the wise one. He's called the survivor. He calls a lot of things in their language that survived the flood. So this is not only the Bible who tells us about this.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. On next slide here, there is also some sources. Could you please comment on that as well?
Yes, that's I find that very interesting because I done some of this research myself, and then I saw others also had done it. Because there is a lot of mention in all the scripture where did it come to rest, this Noah's Ark. And Lubar is one of them. We don't know where that is. And in the Armenian Bible text, it's at the Kaudu mountain. And that's also what Berosus, an old Babylonian writer who lived in Greek times, he also said the Kodrir mountain. You can find in old maps, you found that this is Kodurum, also the Republic of Kodurum, but they call also these places around where we found this remains the same. So this that they are looking at Mount Ararat, all the Christians, that's not even the name of this mountain. There's the big mountain that is lying there where everybody is going up looking. They say we have to go on Mount Ararat, but it's not named Mount Ararat, even not in Turkey, not in Armenia, not in any languages in this area. I don't know if we come back to it, but the Bible, I think that's the next slide, yeah.
Yes, okay. Yes, the next slide comes here. And could you point out that information about the Ark and information about the Ararat mountain, it's not just in the Bible. This is actually what you're trying to do here, isn't that so?
Yeah. For this old cuneiform writings that we talked about, they say that it is in Nisir or Nasar. They didn't have vocals at that time, so they used only the consonants, NSR. And the same is in Assyria. We read about this great king Assurbanipal. He said it rested on Mount Nisir. And you can see that on the map here. Just above, you can see this mark in red. That's where the remains of the ship is today. And this village is called Nasar in all maps. But the Turks have changed all the names, so you don't find it on the map today because they want to have it Turkish and not Kurdish or Armenian, so they changed all the names. So this is an old map that we find this name. But the Bible said it landed on the Ararat map. Again, they didn't use vocals, so the name is RRT.
Yeah.
And that we also find this RRT in Jeremiah 51:27, and there it said it's a country called Urartu. So they just translated something else. Can you see?
Yes. All right.
So that's really a country.
Okay. All right.
That the Old Testament is talking about.
Okay. Thank you for that. So actually, it seems that I have been mixing up here my slides. So just to prove my case in point, which is just mentioned before about Snopes.com. So here you have the link, and here you have the explanation from their website, where they point out that they have been engaged in a battle against misinformation, and they do that with support from a lot of people, their audience, and they do produce reliable fact-checking and through investigative report inquiries and so on, and they pay people to do that, and they have staff who work tirelessly to provide you with a invaluable service, evidence-based, contextualized analysis of facts. All right? So they put up here information, they put up here what they believe is factual evidence to make you understand reality. What we do on our side, we take up the Bible, we put up the Bible, we find scientific evidence as well, we merge the Bible with the scientific evidence, and we are actually presenting to you an everlasting truth. So it's actually your choice to decide which one you're going to believe, right? Do you have any comments on this?
Can I come with a comment? Because
yes, sure.
I think they did the last when it comes to Noah's Ark, because they have used only one source, and that's Andrew Snelling from Answer in Genesis. And that's just one source they have used, as far as I can see and read about. So
yeah,
and it's not even true what they are saying down there.
Yeah, so this
I
is
can
the
prove that.
Yeah, right. So this is the link, the same link as you saw here at the bottom of this slide here. If you click on that link here, you can just Google Snopes.com and Noah's Ark. It will take you to this link here. So just this is not something we're making up here, and this is actually the first page you will see in this article, and you will see always there. This is Snopes.com style. They will put the title, they will put some picture, and the claim, which in this case they say Noah's Ark has been discovered in eastern Turkey, and they say it's false. Now, what we're going to do, Eileen, we're going to get back to you, and I would like you to explain what do you see in this picture, because actually I have this picture from you. So what do we have here?
Here we see the remains of this Noah's Ark. What we see is not actually the ark, but it's covered with it's landslide and this lava from the volcano that exploded because it was lying further up in the valley, closer to the mountain top. But you can see the landslide where it has gone down. So it's full of this earth and you see in a way more the remains. What should I put it? It's more what you can expect to find. It's not the actual ship, but you can find evidences. Oh, it's been a ship if you look closely on it.
Yeah.
It used to be further down, but it came up 6 meters up on the surface, so you could have a better look at it. And that's it was revealed first time in 1948 after an earthquake, because it was lying under the ground. So.
Okay. All right. Well, just a side note here, because this picture it's one of the probably the most known pictures. Photo picture about Noah's Ark, which is located in this location in Turkey. At the same time, there is also a lot of information out there, a lot of websites, even Christian websites, which are trying to debunk, especially this picture, as being just a geological phenomena. Do you have an explanation on that? Would that be possible?
Yes, why I say it's a natural formation is because if you see this when it's flowing landslide or lava, whatever, if you have an obstacle at the end, at the top, you can a lot of times you can see that it's flowing around, and that it could get this figure sort of. And you can see a lot of those pictures even at the smaller Ararat at the other side of the valley. But they change all the time. So every time there comes a new valley, it changes, or the nature changes. But in this special object, it doesn't change. And one of the geologists that we will see later perhaps, in this area, Turkish, he told me that he hasn't find any obstacle that could make this formation at the top. Here you can see a little bit of it. He said all the area around here, it changes over the year. And he grew up on this place, and he's a geologist in the closest, nearest university in Erzurum. And he said everything changes around there, but not the ark. It doesn't change. It's the same. It's like an internal structure, keep the thing together. So that amazed him very much.
All right. Okay.
But yeah, here we have another picture. I called it the dynamite team because the first time we saw this ark formation was after a man called, his name is Pinar. He was a nature flyer, and he flew over and took a picture of it. And that's not. It was people who went down there. They wanted to see and have a look. Could this be Noah's Ark? Because the location was right, and they want to measure and see what they could do. Some of these people we have a picture of here is in Norbergen in the middle, and it's very famous for some people. George Vanderman in the top, he was a very famous television man. And we have this Wilbur Bishop with his wife at the bottom. I don't have a picture of all of those people who were here, but they all went down and was almost financed by his rich man Bishop down there. And Brandenburger, who also was a specialist in taking special photos, and this was, some of them were scientists, some were journalists, and the only thing they did actually was to measure it from top to bottom, and they found it has the same length as the Bible ship, at the Noah's Ark, the same length. And then they wanted to see what was inside, so they blew a dynamite up in the corner and found nothing and went home. So that was their research.
Okay, so you've just presented just a few other people. You haven't even mentioned Ron Wyatt yet, even if this presentation is built on
He came later.
Yes, Ron Wyatt discoveries. So my question just came up to my mind. Do you believe that there is some kind of conspiracy between these people to come up with fake evidence to prove that this is Noah's Ark, just to prove that the Bible is true? Would that be possible?
These people were quite nice Christian people, I think, and some of them went on, and some of them still believed that this was Noah's Ark, even if the team as a whole didn't believe it. But Ron went to a few of them. René Norbergen, he wrote a lot of books, very nice books actually. And he went to these people to ask them more questions, and he found out that two of them at least still believed that this was Noah's Ark. That's why he wanted to research more. So we can thank Ron Wyatt for that. He didn't find it in that perspective, but when he saw this picture and heard about these people, he wanted to go there for himself and see.
Okay. Well, there is this very interesting person that you're pointing out here. It's a report from a research in 1988. Could you elaborate on this a little bit?
Yeah, it's kind of a little random, but according to what you say about this other agendas they might have, in the right here we have Salih Bayraktutan, who also Snopes.com is mentioned as saying that he don't believe it's Noah's Ark, but I talked to him many times up there, and other friends I have, I talked to him, and he believes it's an ark. Like I said, he can see that the formation is kind of sticking together. There is an internal structure. That was him saying that. And he also found petrified wood in the structure, and he believes it's Noah's Ark. So how they can say otherwise, I don't know. That's really strange, because I know this man for many years. The other man we see in the picture in the middle here is John Baumgartner, and I think he and others have an agenda because friends of mine and even my son have talked with him, and he is a scientist, and he has done some research, and he really believes that they should do more research, that they should dig there. And he told that to Sally Barak to come. We should dig here more to find more evidence, because he believed it was Noah's Ark. I have letters that show that. But suddenly he changed his mind. And why do people change their mind? I don't want to talk to anyone, because Ron never did that. But some research really showed that even Christians felt that they didn't really like that Ron get the attention here, Ron Wyatt, because of his Christian background, and they maybe didn't like that he he didn't fit to their expectation.
Well,
but others found him very truthworthy. But when you start to fix on other things than what is the truth, you can be carried away, I think. And he was that.
Okay, all right. Well, our next slide here, there is actually a drawing. I'm going to put it up here. There is a drawing about showing the size and the shape of Noah's Ark.
Yes, it's there is a lot. And what Ron Wyatt did when he came there, he was not a scientist either, but he has a big interest in finding this out. So he brought in the scientists. He brought in David Fassold, that had he was a very clever man who used to be a machine engineer and specialized on ships to shipwreck. He was finding shipwreck on the bottom of the seas. So he had a lot of qualities in him, and there was other people bringing him also up there, like the astronaut Jim Irving. And he brought other people also that were scientists in there, and they started to measure, like these people, in the next picture also. There's a lot to go through. This you can find out there. One of them is marine engineer Samuel Windsor, and this Donald Wesley Patton. They were also university and research people, and they went in and did a lot of research that you can find in books and on the internet and everywhere. And they believed that this was the Ark of Noah. They had no doubts after they had researched it.
Well, isn't that so? Right? Okay. Isn't that so that people like these persons, these individuals that you just mentioned so far, not all of them were Christians, were they?
No, they were not. I don't know about these people actually. How if they were Christians, they might have been, but. There are people coming in there that was not Christian, like this archaeologist, the most famous archaeologist in Turkey. What is his name again? I'm losing names. But he's the one who discovered the Hittite Empire. So he's really well known. Ekrem Akurgal is his name. And he was an atheist. But he said, this is a ship, no doubt about it.
Okay, so here we have people coming from different backgrounds. Is that correct? So we don't have just a bunch of gullible, deluded Christians that are going there, which are very biased because they have a naive belief that the Bible is true no matter what, and they will do whatever it takes to prove that exactly this is Noah's Ark. That's not really reality, as maybe some people would like to make the majority or the world believe. So again, to make a case in point here, we have scientific people, we have other people which we don't really know their background, which are going there and spending a lot of time and probably a lot of money doing this research. And why would they do that? What do you believe?
Well, there is different reasons why people go up there and do research. If you do research on this special remains, you will not get very popular. So I don't think they have so many other reasons that to find out. Because one of them said once to me, what a difference the mountain makes. If this was lying on the top of Mount Ararat, everybody would say, oh, it's Noah's Ark. But because it's lying a little bit south of it on another mountain, still in Urartu, they will say, no, I want to go up there. But I have met a lot of ark hunters, I tell you, up in these mountains. and many of them is just adventurers. And they come there, they get people to pay for them to go and find Noah's Ark, and they go on. They want to climb at top of this Ararat mountain that was not even there during the flood. They proved, the geologists. But that's adventure and fame, and can they find something? So it's different reasons why people go there. But I respect people going to this site because they will not be very popular.
Right. Yes, I guess so. So here we have some more information about some of this scientific evidence. Here we have a picture
Yes.
of some petrified wood.
Yes, it is. And there I found a lot, and they can see it because it contains a lot of carbon. So it has been living at one time. And what I tried to show at this picture A is why it's petrified so fast. I think you can find a lot. I have found a lot on the internet that shows you that it's petrified very fast, faster than the evolutionists trying to tell us. But we have no time to go into that. But that's because of what's coming into this stone, and there's a lot of I'm not sure now what it doesn't say here. I don't have my card, but there's some minerals that come in and instead and you can see these minerals coming into this wood, and instead of the wood you get these minerals that you can. It's the carbon that makes it sure it, and sometimes you can also see it on the surface what it looks like.
All right. So just once again for our viewers here, this is not a scientific program. We're not claiming to be a scientist here. We're just trying to present and somehow provoke you to do your own research and not to be biased when you're going to do your own research. Because if you have, I would say, the wrong standpoint, the wrong ideology, you will not reach to and that's per definition, you will not reach to find the truth. You will probably just reach to whatever conclusion that suits you or me. And just to make a side note about this petrified wood here, what is important, and you will find this information on internet as well, is that the very high concentration of carbon that you will find in this petrified wood. And that's actually a scientific proof that this is actually a very, very old piece of wood. Anyway,
and there's many people who have taken this to laboratory also. It's not just Ron Wyatt, but many people I know about have taken this to laboratory and get this certificate of what is in this petrified wood. And Sally Barak Tutan also took tests. He had a whole university to go to, and he has nothing to gain by saying this was Noah's Ark. I have to tell you that. He got a lot of people went against him at the university in a way. So but this test you can take, but there has not been a permission yet to excavate. I have to say that, to excavate the ship. They have never had the possibility to excavate it. I mean, to dig and find how much is there in there. So the permission was given a few years ago, and they were starting. They wanted to start to dig there from a university in America and also in Turkey. But suddenly came this. The people that wanted to take away Erdogan, Kueta there, and so it was cancelled. So now they're still waiting again to get the permission to dig. So if they dig, I'm sure they will find more, because the newer scannings have shown that there is more.
All right. So just rolling back a little bit to the critics of Ron Wyatt, and again, he was not the only person going there, digging, doing a lot of research. But I'm sure that if you're going to search on internet about Ron Wyatt, you will probably find a lot of websites and a lot of individuals which are more critical to Ron Wyatt's discoveries, they do attack him personally as a person. And even within his own church, it's not a secret, he was a Seventh-day Adventist. Even within his own church, you will probably hear more critics against his discoveries, and even some of them they have put out their websites trying to prove that everything he said, or at least part of it, was a hoax, and he was actually a liar. So that's not a secret. But again, we would like you to go and search for yourself. Do not take it as it is because we say so, or just because there is a majority of people out there that goes against Ron Wyatt, or do not base your belief on the majority, because this is the truth. Is not about the majority. The truth is there, either if you like it or not. The next picture, actually, what I have here, it's again proving, and we have some information here, the lab result. I know that the picture is not that good, but this is possible to find on internet as well, that the carbon percentage was pretty high. Do you have any comments on this, Elin?
That's true, and this has been taken to a laboratory that is and confirmed. And also, this great archaeologist William Shea, he also took tests there. And I have to say that they took tests both in the remains of the ark and also outside, and there was not this contents of carbon at the outside of the structure. So,
all right.
So this you have also, yeah.
Okay. Now we're going to dig a little bit more into some other evidence that it's out there. So what do we have in this picture?
It's very difficult. If you know a boat, you know how it should be and how it will be when it breaks off. So this is the 5 deck supports, that goes should go across the ship, but has been broken off because the ship has been overloaded by all this earth and lava. So it sticks out with regular patterns all over, not just these 5, but all over you can see them going out of the ark. And that brought a lot of people's attention. What are they? And this must contain wood.
All right. Okay. Again, on the next
Here
picture.
you see them again.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the same ones. And the hypothesis that Ron had, and he drew this picture, you can see in the middle of that what structure they might be able to find. If this was a ship, this will be the structure. And lately now, there have been new scans, and we have better scans today that they had before. And these scans, you can see down there, the scans confirm that this is the case. There is something there that is irregular, and it's in all those bumps out of the ship. You see these regular patterns, and there is something there that, because it's regular, it can confirm that this is man-made. So they are still waiting to excavate it to see. Then you can see for yourself the thing coming out, what it is.
All right. Well, we have here, actually, we go back as to 1985 here. This is a news report on Hudson Channel where this person is stating this is not a natural object, a reflection, or occurring too periodic for it to be a natural type of interface. What are the latest results in terms with this discovery? Which was this done before Ron Wyatt got there, or at the same time?
Well, this was taking. He was doing all the research in the 1980s. So this was him bringing this, and they were borrowing this equipment from these geo-survey systems. And this was the boss, or the next to the boss. They said they are seeing a lot of this picture, and this was so regular that it has to be man-made. That's what he said. But this is something everybody can do, and I have been there twice when they have done these scans and seen the same results. So you can even use, a detector and go around and see, and it's so regular. And I also told those people who had brought it with them, go outside the ship and see if it's the same at the outside, that they also are regular there. But there is one sign there, one there, and it was not regular at all. but you can mark those places and go and see how regular this is from the top, just by using a metal detector. And that convinced that a television company that was meeting me once, they were so skeptical, those two young boys, but that really blew them off to see this regular pattern of metal that is in the ship.
All right. Well, one of the main criticisms, which is especially against this information, this evidence that we have here, is that Ron Wyatt was using bad equipment, or actually not even scientific equipment. He was using actually a standard metal detector that you can buy in any kind of hardware store, and that particular equipment which Ron Wyatt was using is not scientific. Therefore, he cannot prove that this is scientific data. You've heard that, I guess, before.
Yes, I heard that, and of course in the beginning he started out with things like that, and that also people have gone down there and used and see, but that's not scientific as you say. But this geo-survey system at that time was very scientific at that time, but now, of course, the equipment. The last one done research now is a man called John Larson. He's from New Zealand, and he has done a lot of scans that is very new with very new equipment, and he comes to the same results. And that's also on internet, on YouTube. You can find John Larson and search for his name and the Noah's Ark, and it will come up.
Okay, when did he do that? Do you remember the year?
It was in 2014.
2014.
And
so
since then they have been waiting to excavate.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so John Larson on YouTube or internet, he has the latest scanning data proving basically the same as Ron Wyatt did in the 80s and 90s.
Exactly the same. Exactly the same, with the rooms and the door and everything. Yeah.
Okay, so do you know if John Larson is in any way related to Ron Wyatt, or Ron Wyatt Museum, or his family?
He's independent. He is a Seventh-day Adventist, but you can know there's a lot of Seventh-day Adventists around there. In all the history of research of Noah's Ark, you see 50% Seventh-day Adventists. I don't know why, because it might be because they are creationists.
All right.
So that might be the reason.
Well, the reason I'm asking that is just maybe some people say, well, there is some kind of interest to some kind of hidden agenda to prove that Ron Wyatt was actually true, and he didn't fail on this particular measurement when we are talking about Noah's Ark. And here we have actually a picture proving the lines, which you could probably explain much better than I do.
Yeah, it's almost the same what we were talking about. It's very confined, all these metal readings, and then you go around with the metal rivet like in the picture there. You can see it for yourself, and I did that twice. So you can see for yourself it's a pattern. So this it's not difficult. If you want to find out, you can actually do some research yourself. But you know, you are not allowed to dig it up. And that's what they want to do, because you have to dig very scientifically so you don't destroy these things.
Yeah.
But if you find other ships, you know, that you find like Hutton Sue, the Viking ship in England, you see the same pattern. All the wood has rotten away, but you see all the metals are still there in the ship.
All right. Okay. Well, I think it's good that the authorities is not allowed just anybody to go there and dig for themselves. That would probably leave nothing for the archaeology and for the whole world to see. So.
And there is somebody watching it all the time. They have a house there, a visitor center, and there's always someone watching what you are doing there. But you're allowed to go down there.
Okay. Well, on this slide here, we actually have a picture of nails, which contains, as it says on the picture, man-made aluminum, consisted with the metal findings on the Ark.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I find it very, very interesting.
They also say aluminium. Of course, you can find that in nature also. But then look it up and see how you find it in nature. You don't find it in an alloy together with iron and all this alloy they have found in this metal they find. So if you are going to find aluminium in nature, it's in a special way, and that's not the way you're finding it here.
Okay, well, you can see actually below the nail here, there is a lab result with the chemical formula showing the compounds in this aluminum, which could be a proof that this has been an aluminum alloy. Isn't that correct? And it's not just a piece of natural aluminum that you will probably find in nature.
No, it's not. This is an alloy that has to be man-made.
Okay.
And
yeah, go ahead.
No, so that's the interesting thing, because people try to tell that you can find it everywhere, iron or aluminium, but it's a special alloy that is man-made.
Okay.
These things together.
Isn't that also a proof that even in Noah's time, because even if you're talking 4,000 years ago, they had highly sophisticated, scientific ways of doing having this kind of technology.
Yes, and the Bible tells us so, that they have that. And they say that this, I think the grandchild of Cain, that they worked with this different kind of metals. And we have found in Armenia and everywhere, I've been there and seen all these places where they developed the metals and iron and everything. So it wasn't common use before the Iron Age, but they had all these things, and they sold it, they used it, and especially up in this area.
Well, again, this is just a teeny piece of information about Noah's Ark. We don't have time here, and we don't even have space to go through thousands of information that anyone can search on internet today, and which is available for everybody out there. So we're just pointing to some very, very few points, which, as you mentioned before, some of these studies you've done it yourself, is that correct?
Yes. I wanted to know. So both in this Noah's Ark and other places, I want to take tests myself. I haven't taken any tests from Noah's Ark, but I have taken from other sites that we are talking about later. But friends of mine have taken tests and brought it, and it's quite expensive to take geological tests, so they do it on their own expense to show and to see for themselves. So, but there is other things you can do, like measure these things, and it is the biblical side.
Okay.
Biblical the length of the boat.
All right. You mentioned this professor here on one of your slides.
Yes.
Okay. Is this person somebody you knew personal?
No, he is dead now, unfortunately. Okay. So I never met him, but he was up there together with Ron in '84, like it says on this slide. And at that time, they were allowed to dig a little bit on his permission, in a way. He was very well known in Turkey because of the Hittite civilization that he discovered. But at that time, they found these long metal spikes, which were still intact, so it says, and he was allowed to take it to the museum, and they researched it and could see what it was. And he was sure this was the ship, to see all these regular patterns and what it was when they digged it up and saw this spike.
Okay, all right. Well, we have been going so far through, again, some of the proofs that scientific evidence that is out there, statements from different individuals, which is also available on the internet. Anybody can look this up. This is not something we've just collected together for the sake of this presentation. Eileen, you've done, how many trips have you done to the site?
Actually, I'm not good at, I forgot to count, but it's several, 7, 8 times maybe. First time in 2000 and the last time in 2010.
All right.
So I've been there alone and also with tour groups mostly because I like to show it to people. And I like to bring people there to research for themselves and to see and to talk to locals, to talk to people. And I brought Sally by Bhutan a couple of tours and other scientific so they could talk with people and get to know this better, to see for themselves.
Well, I'm actually glad that you just mentioned that you're taking group of people out there because I just happen to know some people, including myself, that would really love to go there. And we were actually looking for somebody like you to take us there and to be our guide, somebody we can trust. And I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that would probably be interested to go and see for themselves about the site of Noah's Ark. So please do contact us or Eileen somehow, and if you'd like to arrange a trip, I don't know if you're still available to do that, Eileen.
I haven't done it for years now, but I know the guides, I know the people up there that helps out with it, and people I know I can trust. And friends of mine are going up there all the time. I use the same people to take them around because this is an area with a lot of criminality, I have to say that. We have run into some problems many times, but it has turned out well. And if you know the right people, you can and tell you what to do or not to do, what to say and not to say. But that's because people up there, it's a small little village, and it's a long story, but money is important also for them.
Okay, well, I'm glad you just mentioned that. So if some of your viewers would like to get in touch with us, you can do that to our email, info@lightchannel.dk, or our website. We have a contact form, or here on YouTube, you could just leave a comment, and we'll try to get back to you. That will be quite interesting to maybe arrange a group of people from Scandinavia or wherever you are. We could just meet in Turkey, and if you cannot do it, Eileen, as you mentioned, people which are trustworthy that could help us or anybody to go there.
Yes.
Well, we have reached the end of this presentation, and the question is for you and for everybody. What are you going to decide? What are you going to do with this information, this piece of information, this just a small amount of information that we just went through for the last 45 minutes or so? That's entirely up to you. And again, I hope that this video has been an inspiration for you. If you find these programs a blessing and a help for you to better understand God and the world we live in, please share these videos with your friends and family. Please also pray for us at Light Channel in Denmark that we might be able to continue doing God's work. So thank you, and see you next time when we're going to cover another very interesting topic, and that's Sodom and Gomorrah with Eileen as well. So thank you, Eileen, again for taking time to be here with us tonight, and for doing a lot of background work to actually put up this part of this presentation. Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
And I hope to see you next time.
Yes.